Hi there, my name is Jordan, and in today's video, we're going to do an overview on how to get started with SmartVerses. Let's get straight into it. So when you open and already installed your SmartVerses, this is what you're going to see. So I'm going to walk you through all the tabs that you see here. The SmartVerses tab has everything to do with the Bible verses and getting it in real time. Our service component is where you have your schedule for the service. So if you have your slide, your lyrics, and all of that, you would put them right here for the service. The timer controls the time that goes up on stage, confidence monitor, and all of that. If you have this already connected with your Pro Presenter, like I do right here, it's gonna connect straight to the Pro Presenter computer whenever you control the timers from here. And if your check does use the recorder, you can use this to record both the video input or the audio input. But we're going to spend most of the time on the SmartVerses tab to get you started with how to use the SmartVerses tab. But let's get started. So right here, you have our take on what a modern Bible application should be, which is the chat interface. You could type anything here from a Bible reference to any search, and they will show up here. We're going to get to that in a second. If you like more the traditional Bible view, that's going to be on here, and you can use that as a traditional Bible view. On your left here, whenever you have the AI on and it's listening to the service, whenever I detect any Bible verses, it's going to be on here to your left. And the key points from the sermon, if you have that turned on, it's going to show up also here to your left. You have two options on how to get those scriptures live. If you have the auto trigger on, whenever these scriptures are detected, they're going to automatically go live into the audience display. If you have this turned off, then an operator would have to click to get this live. And then you have here a preview of your program output, what is going out. And then you have at the bottom here where you can start your transcript. You can also go here to your different settings. So let's go, before we go to the AI component of this, let's show how to use this typically. If you have several Bible translations installed, you can always switch to each individual one from right here. We'll have a separate video on how to install different Bible verses. So I'm going to start with a simple John 3, verse 16, and then hit enter. The very first time you hit enter, it's going to ask you, what do you want to do whenever the enter screen is pressed? So do you want it to go live, or you want it to go to previous level and the operator has to manually place it in? I'm going to click just go live right away when I hit enter for speed. You can always change this batch and settings. If you come on here and go to SmartVerses settings, you go down to display settings, and then you have here what do you want to do when the enter key is pressed, go live. You can always turn that off. So I have right here, this has gone live. Now, if I have this connected to my Pro Presenter, it also sends that to Pro Presenter again using this or hand in hand with Pro Presenter. I could click on here to open the next verse if I want to see a preview, or I could hover over the mouse right here to also see the next verse. You can see the verse 17 is right here at the bottom, and the previous verse, I can also see that here, and I can use this to navigate. So as you click on this, as you can see, it's going to the next verse. That's one way to do that. I can also go back like so. And you can also reset this to the original card that was opened right here, or click on the next card. If you want to see the full chapter, you can click on the full chapter button. It brings you to the Bible view. You can scroll through to see the full chapter on that. Now, if you want to change the Bible translation just for this particular card, you can switch that from here. So if I change that to ASV, so the Bible translation is changed just for this card. Everything else still stays in KJV. If I change it on here, it changes it globally. So everything that uses the Bible changes to that. So that is the truth. So you can change this individually here, or you can change it here manually. Another way you can also change the Bible translation is using the @ sign. So if I beat at ASV and then typed Romans 8:23, so that opens in ASV, just this, not the entire Bible verse. If I typed again John chapter 1, verse 1, that goes back to the whatever is currently set here, which is ASV, and I can set that to King James Version. So if you're moving back and forth the card and you want to see a history of what you've gone through, you click on this YouTube icon and it shows you this is the history of all the verses that I have moved through. And your traditional Bible verse does the same thing. You just type John chapter 3 and verse 3, and that shows you the preview. When it's orange, it's in preview. You can click for it to go live or hit enter for it to go live. If you prefer a more traditional Bible lookup, you could use the Bible lookup right here to go a more traditional Bible lookup. Now, let's say you do not know what the scripture is and you're trying to search. You could type the search right here, for God so loved. And you have two options. You can search locally or the cloud. The cloud will be more accurate. Locally will be more faster. The cloud would use your cloud credits. Local, you can do unlimited of that. Able to use some smart AI to do semantic search in the background. The cloud is just more accurate. So when I hit the for God to love the world, so as you can see, it pulled any scriptures that had better and highlights where it found out for God to love the world. And I can click on that for it to go live. So that is a search for that. And one good thing about SmartVerses is it's one of the smartest Bible lookup application that is right there. So I could type John 3:16. As you can see, I didn't put the full John. And to pick that up, I can say John chapter 3, verse 16. And it just pull that up. So it does not matter how you type it. Just type it anyhow. The system uses intelligence in the background to pull whatever scripture it is that you were searching for. Another great thing with this search is that it's intelligent enough that you could dump any text that had any kind of Bible scripture in here, it should pull it up. So right here, I've pasted several texts. As you can see, this was Pastor's sermon notes that he's given me. In the sermon notes, we have Jeremiah 17, we have Hebrews 11:1, and we have, I don't know, a couple more Bible scriptures that have been placed in this text. I just dumped everything here and hit enter. As you can see, SmartVerses from all of this is automatically able to pull all the Bible verses that has been placed on here. So now when I'm ready to go live, I can just click on any of them and that goes live. And say I wanted to take these and save it to be used for a later service, I can hit the save button here. I'll just put the Bible search, you can put the title right here and then save. So it's going to save it as a slide item right here at the bottom. So you can see it has all those Bible verses saved here that are in the search history. So at any time in point or any Bible verse you want to save in the search history, you can just save those and then you can come back to them to just click on them to go live in the service tab. So now I'm going to go ahead and clear my chat history. I can just hit the delete. So that has cleared that. So we can start a brand new chat. Now let's go to the AI automation part of things that automatically detect Bible verses. So to do that, you simply, again, you want to go to your transcription settings and just make sure you have your proper microphone set up here. If you can use a laptop mic, but for more accuracy, if your church has some kind of a sound card, you want to connect that to make sure you're getting clean audio. But even if you have a laptop mic, as long as it's loud enough in the room, it's quite intelligent enough to just speak it from there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my transcription so we can see how this works. And I'm going to turn on Auto Trader. And just to clear this, so you can see going live as I mentioned Bible verses. Let's start the transcription. John 3:16. So you can see it's pulled that up, and I can say like next verse. So it's pulled it up again. And I can say jump to verse 20. It's done that automatically. And I can say, can I see that in the ASV translation? So you can see this automatically switched to the ASV translation. And if I have key point extraction turned on here, so as you can see, as I'm speaking, it's trying to pick some of the key points that I'm mentioning in the sermon. And I can obviously click go live. There's a separate template for this. We'll look at that in another video, how to do the templating. And that goes live on that. And I can also click on here to go back live on the scripture. Now, one thing, when you go live, on the scripture manually, it automatically turns off the auto trigger so that it does not override what you're doing. Once you're done with that, you can either press the Alt key A to turn back auto trigger on, or just turn it back on here and let the system continue to do things automatically. So the app also has something called paraphrase detection, where if your pastor paraphrases a Bible verse, it's able to also automatically get it without particularly mentioning it. So I'm going to just pretend to be the pastor now and say, can we find the scripture that says all things work together for good to those who love God? So as you can see, it's picked that up. That is in the book of Romans right there. And I can just click on that to go live if it's done manually, or I can have auto trigger to let it go live on there. So a few things is that you can also star a particular scripture. So if I want to save this, I can start that. And when I go to the start, I'll see all the scriptures that are starred. Same thing to on here. I can start particular scriptures just to bookmark them. And then when I click on the star icon here, it shows me just the bookmark ones that I have bookmarked. And I can turn that off to bookmark, turn off the bookmark right here. One thing I did mention about a search earlier is that you can also search directly from here. So if I say for God so loved, that also acts as a search to pull it up. So you can do the search on here in the chat view or on the Bible view. So finally, once you've stopped your transcription, you have two buttons that show up here because the summary is over. You could generate the summary. That brings you to the summary page here where it has you to generate a summary. Now, this is a paid feature, so if you have a paid account, you should be able to do that. And it's going to summarize the entire sermon and generate for you key points and keynotes. I can show you one of the ones that I already did. This was a very short one, so it just says what are the key things, all the verses that were mentioned in the scripture, and then some key takeaways from that particular sermon. And then the cool one that we really like here in the team is the Smart Recap. So what this does is going to create visual slides that you can display right away to your audience. So you can do either a text-based recap or a visual recap. So we're going to do the visual recap. It's going to ask you for transitions to play that and some effects that you can put. I'm going to use the default, and then I'm going to ask it to generate the recap slide. So it's going to look through the entire transcript and try to summarize some key takeaways from that sermon. But so it's going to detect a couple of key points from the sermon. So in the sample sermon that I've given it, this is what it's detected. So we have about 3 different slides, or it doesn't matter what those are. I'll just need those right now. And then you can add your speaker's image so that a pastor, so I can click on that either from the computer or from the image library. We'll cover the image library in another video. So image library is just where you can store all your visual assets, both images and videos. And the good thing is that there is a remote link. So if you copy on this, is a remote link right here when it's enabled that you can give to your social media team or the team that deals with taking pictures in church. So in real time, as they take pictures, they can upload this and it's going to automatically show here so that whoever is doing your media display can instantly have the pictures available. So I'm going to select a picture of the pastor right here, and then you can choose whatever styles that you have. When we cover the smart slide, we'll look at what those are, and I'm going to click on generate right here. If you have customs instructions for what you want it to look like, you can add that and just put some prompts right here, and then we'll hit generate. So as you do that, it's going to automatically take you to your service tab, and whatever playlist you have here, it's going to create a new service item, which has the recap transcript. So right now, these are the slides they're currently generating. As they generate, they will populate here. Right, and those are done. So I can just click on this to put that live. And in this case, we kind of use just the one image. So it's using the same image, but you can put a different image for each of the slides. So you can see it has this beautifully designed, and you can customize what these designs look like. We'll cover that. Check our video on Smart Slides, AI slide builder, to see how you can create your own template, put your logo and things like that. But you have these smart recaps ready to show right to the audience with your pastor's pictures from that day. This is really, really valuable for most of our churches using the application. All right, so finally, I'm just going to show you how to change the layout. So I'm going to go back to the scriptures right here. So you didn't like this picture and the layout. There is a layout view here that you can click on. It comes up on here. So this changes the layout. You could reduce the size. You can change the images right here. If you want it to be a solid image, say you're trying to do Noah Tubbs and key out the green or key out the black, you can do that. You could use a gradient background. We have all of those. You could put a video as a background right here. Then you can just change how that looks like. And for the key points, you can go here. And remember, it was just all black, so you can change how the key points looks. If I move to this here and beat that as a gradient background, for example, just real quick, just to show you an example and save that layout. If we go to the key points that we detected, if I go live on these, it's going to use that background. So you can change the layout for the key points. One final pin that might be useful is annotations. So I've gone on live on our scripture right here. And let's say the pastor was emphasizing on the word purpose, and I want to do that on the screen. I'll click on here, and I can use my highlighter to just highlight the word purpose. And then when I save that, that goes live to the audience. Or I could draw and use the draw tool to actually circle around the one of the purpose. This just changed that brush right here. So if pastor says, underline the word purpose, underline the word together, I'm going to put it right there. And we know, and then just going to save that. And all of those are annotated and they go live. Right, so finally, if you're ready to display this to the audience, you just turn on the audience screen by clicking right here. And if you want to select what monitor you have, just right click and say select output. So it'll bring you here to the audience screen. And I just have the one monitor here, but then if you click detect, it will detect any monitor you have on your screen. You can select which one should be your audience display. We also have a web view. So the web view simply does a web URL that you can add to apps like OBS, Pro Presenter, or if somebody needs to see this on an iPad, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So on my browser, this is what it looks like. You can see the web view right there. And then if you have NBI, you can turn on also NBI right here on Competent Monitor, also coming in a later update of the application. That would also be somewhere here on the bottom. And then finally, if you want to change what you see right here on the transcription, as you can see, it's highlighting. When it detects the key points and the key verses, you can just unselect those, what you want to view. If you don't want to see the transcript, you can remove those. So that becomes completely empty. I just want to see the detected verse and the highlighted items. I will see those or the transcript right here. And we always advise every time you start a new service, just click a new session. So it can clear this out, that or you have your transcription history for every service. Because if you go to your transcription history, you can see all the services that you have down right here, and you can generate summaries and recap for those. If you like an overview of the SmartVerses tab right here, in other videos, we're going to cover the service tabs, slides, lyrics, timers, and recorders. So check out those other videos for that. Thank you. Bye.